Alright, this is the introduction to the Slayer Project. Now, what is the point of the Slayer Project? What exactly is it? Alright, so the whole point of the Slayer Project is to do 100 headshots at 100 yards in 100 seconds. It all goes down to I had something similar to this when I was a kid, and I'd watch zombie movies, and I'd be like, dude, so not realistic. If you were to put me on a choke point with my 22, because there's no recoil and how accurate that thing is, I could literally build a wall of zombie corpses that they would not be able to come over. I could totally, handle a direction. I could take, east or west. And if there was 3 other of me's with a big-ass pile of ammunition, with firearms just like mine, it would be impossible to die in a zombie movie. Short of, other humans with guns attacking us or starvation. We could literally just bulldoze through hundreds and hundreds of zombies. So, now that we got this gun channel, and I no longer have that 22 because I winded up selling it so I could get a upgraded pulley system for my supercharger that I had on my vehicle at that time, and then I tried to buy it back and they liked it so much they wouldn't get rid of it, and I never built another one. So we're doing it again. How exactly am I putting together this Slayer project? I went with this stock because in the other one, as soon as I put on a taller mount, I couldn't get the proper cheek weld. So I lost a lot of accuracy in my 22, and it also slowed me down. So I got a stock with an adjustable cheek riser, so I can put on the scope I want and still have the proper cheek weld. It's also got an adjustable length of pull. Right there is about where I want to be. I haven't decided for sure if I'm putting on a bipod yet. I probably will, but I just don't know for sure. Now, obviously, this is a zombie gun, and the biggest advantage we have over zombies is we can walk fast. I mean, don't get me wrong, there are those zombie movies where they can run, but that's not really zombies, that's infected. That's a totally different thing, and then you don't need to get headshots. You just gotta cause enough damage to their body to where they lose blood pressure and die. I'm talking about zombies, and a reanimated corpse. They just don't have the motor control, and their muscles have all locked up and hopefully started decomposing, so they do the slow zombie shuffle. So I want a gun that I could be able to jog for quite some time and not get completely burnt out. So I chose to go with a carbon fiber barrel. This barrel is actually pretty freaking light. The balance point is something like right here. I went with a 16-inch barrel because I went on the interweb and I looked at a whole pile of stats. And it appears the 22 long rifle peaks out right around 16 inches. You gain a little bit more going with an 18-inch, but it's like 100 feet per second or something like that. I'm not looking at the charts. I'll just roll them in right here. In my opinion, that extra 2 inches of barrel, extra ounces of material, isn't worth that little bit of gain. Now, I did go with a flash hider on here. I would have just went with a squared off barrel, but I wanted the option of having threads on here, so I have the option of putting a can on here. I was thinking about going with an internally suppressed barrel, because zombies and sound and all that good stuff, but I'm probably going to wind up giving this to my daughter at some point, and I don't want to have to deal with the NFA bullshit behind suppressors, so I decided that I would go with just a barrel with a threaded end, and then if I wanted to put a can on there, I could put a can on there, or I could take the can off. It's just better that way, legally speaking, especially if she wants to go shooting by herself, and I don't want to go, then, well, she can just take that. I can take the can off. So it does have this flash hider on there, or muzzle brake. I don't even know. This would probably be more of a flash hider. So I guess in the dark it would give me an advantage, but other than that, a 22 just doesn't produce enough gas for a compensator or a muzzle brake to do anything of any importance whatsoever. Because all a brake does, or a compensator, is it redirects the gases. And it takes that thrust that those gases make, and it makes them work against themselves, reducing recoil. Well, in something like a 22 that doesn't really produce any gases, there's really no gases to redirect and change the shape, or change the direction. I mean, there is a little bit. There will be some minor advantage, but it's going to be pretty damn negligible. Now, in order to do my 100 headshots at 100 yards in 100 seconds, one of the biggest problems with the Ruger 1022 is a garbage trigger. Because the standard Ruger 1022 has a huge length of travel to do your next follow-up shot, I wanted something I could fire quicker. I was originally going to go with a binary trigger, but I was doing some investigation on the interweb, and apparently they don't function very well on a Ruger 1022. I don't know if it's the ciclet rate or if they're just poorly made or what the deal is. So I wound up going with a Timmy trigger. And then I got the blue trigger right there. This way it would match the stock a little bit better. And I got the silver trigger guard, so it would match the silver on the barrel a little bit better. Obviously, color doesn't matter because, I mean, they're zombies. They're not looking, I mean, maybe it would make a difference, but I really don't think so. I also originally wanted a green stock, but this was what was available. So I got this one because it was available and I could buy it. And I'm so tired of back order. I'm still waiting for parts on the Prophet. Like, back order is ridiculous. I'm not going to deal with it if I don't have to. Blue just so happens to be one of my favorite colors, so I went with blue. I got to get a stencil made. I know a guy. Put Slayer right here on the side of it. The scope I'm going with, I'm actually repurposing the scope from the Shredder. Now, if you're familiar with the Shredder project, the whole point of this was for busting armor, and it does it great. It does an excellent job, because I wanted to be able to bust armor with a rifle setup, so any person could just go into Walmart, buy ammunition, no special ammunition, and take down most armor. That's what this rifle was to do and prove, and it did that flawlessly. However, with this rifle, this was, when the gun shortage was going, there was only certain parts available. So what I wanted to build was not like this at all. I wanted to build something like 7 pounds, maybe 8, open sights that I could just smash armor with. Well, I couldn't get any of those parts. I couldn't even get a chrome line barrel. It was supposed to have a chrome line barrel. So I winded up turning into this because I just bought what was available. And these parts were available, and it's more of a DMR. And since I've already done the armor smashing thing, yes, I'm going to keep 55 grain 243 ammo so I can smash armor anytime I want. But the purpose of this rifle is going to be changing. It's going to be going to more of a DMR role since that's what it's basically set up for anyway. The problem with this is the scope that's on there. I ran with the Trijicon Credo 2x10. Scope is great. Love the scope. However, there's not enough zoom for my shitty old ass eyes to be able to properly measure targets at range. What I mean by that is, so you got a grid in your scope. So say you look at a stop sign. This is actually a hexagon, you just don't see very well. You look at a stop sign, you know the measurement's, 36 inches? So then you take your scope and you'd line it up and you'd count how many MOA it is to cover that stop sign, and then you can figure out the range. Well, with the scope only being a 10 power, I have a hard time really seeing those marks well and lining up with the target and getting an accurate measurement. And if you can't get an accurate measurement, you're not going to get an accurate range. You're just jumping into a giant soup sandwich. However, like, the scope works great. But I need, because I tested out with my Leopold, a minimum of 15x on a first focal plane scope to be able to use the reticle to measure things. This is only a 10 power. I just can't measure things well. So I have a new scope coming. It's the Trijicon 10 mile. It's 7x30, I believe, which is more than enough zoom. I will be able to measure targets then. This scope isn't really good for measuring targets, but it does have the grid system in it. So you got your center point, then line, 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 and then you got the tree, so then you got dots that come down, dots that come down, dots that come down. So if I'm not trying to measure a target, this is great for calculating my misses and making corrections. So let's say I'm aimed at a target, I shoot, and I get a splash right here. Well, then I just move this point over my target, and I shoot again. I can do that just fine. I can see the splash in the scope, especially on something light recoil like a 22. See the little splash or the spark or the little dust pop. Okay, it's right there on my grid. Move my grid up to back on target and fire again. It will do that just fine. It does everything perfectly fine. It's mostly my problem. I don't have enough zoom to be able to measure things. But all the rest of the stuff, it does great. Great clarity, scope works great, the grid, that's all great. It just doesn't have enough zoom to be able to measure targets. And because this is going to be a DMR now, I'm going to change from 55 grain ammo to probably like 90 or whatever this barrel twist can handle. I got a 1.9. I believe it's a 90 grain 243 is all I can stabilize. Alright, so I went with the Tactical Solutions receiver. This does have a polyurethane buffer in the back, and it's got dual recoil springs. I'm assuming to get a straight feed, because on a lot of Ruger 1022s, it's got a single spring, and it'll start wearing out that guide bar and causing malfunctions. The extractor looks kind of high on this. I'm hoping this doesn't cause malfunctions. If I have a lot of problems to extract, I'm going to have to call them up and have this extractor changed. Normally you want to cut really low so it holds the shell and it pulls it out of the barrel. Will it be an issue? I don't know. We got to test it out first. This can switch the charging handle to the other side, but it will always eject out of this side. Alright, I got her all put together. The parts fit really tightly together, so I'm probably not going to do the final snugging and like Loctite and stuff like that until I shoot it a little bit and let everything break in. Once it's broken in, then I'll take it apart again, reassemble it, put it back together, make sure everything's nice and tight then. That's what it looks like with the scope on it. Got a single point sling for it. I did pay for the wood though. This rifle weighs 8 pounds. Well, it's a little bit less than 8 pounds, but damn near 8 pounds. So I paid for the wood, but I think the wood is worth it in the weight because it looks cool as hell. And since this is like a hero rifle or a movie rifle, I'll take the coolness over the reduction in weight. It fits okay. When I pull it up, I am getting a clear scope picture, but I feel like the scope should go just a little bit more forward, so I'm probably going to have to adjust that because right there is where I'm getting my clear picture. I would like this cheek riser a touch higher, but right now it's maxed out. I know they do have extended ones that are higher yet that I could put on here, but like I said, this is close enough where I think it'll do the job just fine. I'm not going to move the scope ahead because I don't have my scope leveling tool. Alright, let me do this right. Yeah, the scope's got to go ahead a little bit. But other than that, like, it fits pretty nice. I am probably going to switch the charging handle over to this side. I don't know, I just feel like it'd be better because then I could be shooting, come down here, release the mag, come in with the new mag, and charge it. And then go right back to shooting. I think that would be more convenient. I haven't decided for sure if I'm going to run a bipod yet. I'm kind of leaning towards no. I'll have to try it out though and see what I think. So far I'm pretty pleased with it. Again, the main goal of this is 100 headshots at 100 yards and 100 seconds. That's what I want to be able to do. Can I do it? I think so. With mag changes, as long as I don't have a whole bunch of malfunctions. Because if a malfunction happens, I'm just going to start the test over. Because I'm not trying to measure with malfunctions. I'm just trying to measure like if it works or not. Kind of went off in the weeds there. The point is, if a malfunction happens, then I'm just going to start the test over. But no malfunctions, with mag changes, 100 headshots, 100 seconds. And I'm not going to go with a drum. I'm going to have the 25 round mag, so I'm going to have to change mags 4 different times. I think I can do it. I truly do. As long as this thing runs like a sewing machine, like my old one used to, it should do it just fine. Anyway, thank you for watching. Like to help support the channel. Got my Patreon right there. I also have affiliate links in the description down below. Just by clicking on those links, even if you don't buy what the particular link is for, just click it on that and then doing the Amazon shopping you were already going to do anyway. I have a little kickback for it because you came there off my channel. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe.